To be frank, I think local leaders, before they can feel comfortable with how private sector determines when and where to invest and how to organize their decisions, there needs to be more of such as what Arctic Circle is doing and what David brought out this morning on the paper that was presented with the help of our friends from the Arctic Research Commission. In particular, I want to thank Fran Ulmer, who participated actively and championed a part of this report. Daley mentioned the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act, and that was really important for Alaskan Natives. We should be proud of the law, and we need to protect the best that ANCSA has. It's not perfect, but it was developed in a rush. It dealt with the land and not the ocean. It left out our hunting and fishing rights. So the North Slope Borough, during my term as government, to answer your question directly, I found it lacking because it's a subsidiary of the state as a municipal government. And the creation, the very creation itself was fought tooth and nail by our own state of Alaska in an effort to not have the Indigenous Inupiaq people participate in resource development. I think that's a very important point, and this was just as of 1971 on the creation. So it provided, I think people assume ANCSA took care of it. It provided the framework for investment purposes and feel that in a sense maybe it would protect Indigenous interests. But I don't think that's true. The landscape is now too complex, and as I said, ANCSA was about the land. That's the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act. And by the way, I still thank Spiro Agnew, who was the vice president, who made the Trans-Alaska Pipeline happen. One vote by our own federal government also. So I think you just need a little bit of history. And again, as I stated, we cannot separate the land and the sea and the ocean from the Inupiaq up there. So we need a new model and a new understanding. A 21st century model, if you will, and I believe that's what the Arctic Circle is trying to do. So we have to break the mold. And I am so grateful that events like this happen in this very prestigious institute with the best minds, the best thinkers, and influential people that are affected. And by the way, on the website as I speak, I say hello to my daughter, who is on the internet now watching and learning about what we are doing here. And in closing, I'd just like to say the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act as a framework, as good as it has been, provided some very rigid barriers, if you will, to the regional corporations that were supposed to follow the Western model of getting into and being active part of America. It was about creating a for-profit model when our traditional economy was subsistence. So I put that in context, and I have to ask this. How many barrels of oil have the ANCSA corporations produced? These are the major corporations that will produce, that were to protect the best interest of all Indigenous natives in the state of Alaska. I can tell you today, very little but mostly none. They have not produced a barrel of oil. So really, here's what we have. ANCSA did attempt to bring us into the 21st century with a model as a contractor. ANCSA helped, but ANCSA also was incomplete. Do we really, as a people, as Inupiats, have the ability to invest at the ground level, at where it starts? I answer your question with questions because we don't have the answer yet. How will investors approach the new Arctic? I know there are now investors who have become socially conscious, if you will, and have realized that the Indigenous people have been left out again. Because we go back a short 200, 250 years ago to the first Americans and where they have ended up today. Our brothers and sisters here in America. What happened? They got left out. But we are fortunate. I don't have the answers. And I'm surely not going to assume that national and multinational corporations are going to want to open up and say, hey, we want to share your profits with you. I wish that could happen.